your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price with use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Folks, welcome back. You got the Todd Starnes Show. Me, your liberty-loving Latino, Chris Salcedo. For those of you who don't know who I am, do not confuse me with loudmouth leftist Latinos out there. I actually love my country. I love my state, the United States of America, and I am broadcasting to you live from the great state of Texas. Before I get on to what's going on here in Texas, folks, how the Republican Party here is, sorry, not the Republican Party. The Republican politicians are reflective of the cancer that we have in the Republican Party on the national level. Let me go to Joe. He is from Georgia, WDUN. Joe, thanks for calling in. Appreciate you being here on the Starnes Show.
Chris, thank you very much. I just want to express prayers for Todd. He's a great guy. I've been on his program many times, and he's truly a great American conservative champion, and we're praying that he gets well and gets back on the air. And I just want to say I've been involved in politics for about 50 years, and I think, Chris, we need to campaign in a positive way and not be negative. Like I'm working for Burt Jones to be governor of Georgia, but I'm doing it in a very positive way. I think we just need to say why we're for somebody and not bring up all the negative stuff, because I've heard so many people say, as I've heard you say, politics are so dirty. Well, I think to some extent they're right. So what we need to do is be for candidates with passion, fire, and enthusiasm, but be positive. And I just want to say that. But mainly, I want to say we'll be praying for Todd. He's definitely a great man. I met him personally, and we're all praying for him to have a speedy recovery and get back on the air. And thank you for...
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for the well wishes. Folks, I'm positive I don't like Republicans who betray the country and their own party and their voters. I'll expand on that coming up next on the Todd Starnes Show.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh. Really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey. We're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Got the Todd Starnes Radio Show, folks, and me, Chris Salcedo, sitting in. Telephone number is 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. And I did want to expand a little bit on the last call from Joe. We got to be positive. Yeah, no, I'm positive. I'm a conservative. And I'm positive I don't like a government of, by, and for the government. I'm positive I don't like that. And the problem with the Democrats is they are unified. Marxists, socialists, anti-American kooks, freaks, and nuts, right? They are what they are. And you don't need a manual. You don't need much political pressure at all. They are totalitarians at heart, and they're unified. Do you know that there are no unifying principles in the Republican Party? These cats can't even unify to oppose communists. I mean, that's the problem with the Republican Party. And for those of us who say, oh, bygones, let's just move on, oh, yeah, you surrendered us to socialists, Marxists, and kooks and freaks and nuts, and you harm my family, you harm my state, you harm my community. Oh, but, let's just stay positive and just move on. No, I think that's how we got to where we are right now. Government that is never held accountable for what it does to us. And I think it's time that our memories got longer, not shorter, my friends. I mean, and these politicians, they rely on you not remembering the equivalent of not what you had for breakfast yesterday or this morning, as far as politics are concerned. Oh, let's just forget about it. I've got Michael McCall, who is a retiring congressman who's supporting John Cornyn, who is a Republican in name only. 24 years of siding with socialists against our people, making Texas a worse place to live. That's his legacy. And Michael McCall, you might remember, folks, pushed something called the CHIPS Act down our throat. Remember the CHIPS Act? Our elected officials offshored critical infrastructure that was used in our financial system, used in our defense, national defense. They moved it offshore to Taiwan. What could go wrong moving it just miles away from communist China? What could go wrong moving it all there? And then when they found out, hey, maybe that was a stupid thing to do, as Democrats have eroded our resolve at stopping communists in this country, and then all of a sudden we found ourselves in a pretty big national security risk of having our largest semiconductor provider in Taiwan fall to the communist Chinese. Communist China was already infiltrating the chips market, folks, rigging the chips that we put in our ships, in our vehicles, in our defense computers for surveillance. I mean, this was discovered during the era of Obama. So whose bright idea was that? Oh, yeah, Republicans and Democrats, the uniparty. I don't want to forget. And then when they said, oh, man, this could really lead to some people dying, then they said, let's pass the CHIPS Act, billions and billions of dollars to bring back the chips back into America that should never have been allowed to be exported to begin with. I had Michael McCall, folks, booked on my radio program to talk about this. The minute his people found out that I wanted to ask about the CHIPS Act, they canceled the interview because he didn't want to talk about how this Republican intentionally made every man, woman, and child, along with every other Republican and Democrat, put our lives at risk by offshoring that which should never have been offshored, our national defense. You guys remember during the China virus? Communist China saying, hey, we're going to cut off your medications. How many of you remember that? We're going to cut off your medications. Now, look, Joe, if you're still listening in Georgia, how am I supposed to get over that? Let's be positive. That Republicans and Democrats have colluded to offshore our medications to communist China, an enemy nation. How am I supposed to let bygones be bygones when they control our medications, man? How am I supposed to do that? Am I supposed to forget and forgive? Maybe I can forgive, but forget would be foolhardy. Maybe one day I could forgive the Michael McCalls and the John Cornyns for teaming up with socialists and Marxists to compromise our nation's national security. Maybe I could forgive them at some point. but I would be stupid to forget. And I think our voters would be stupid to forget as well. So that leads me back to what's happening here in the great state of Texas with the Republican Party of Texas. I'm just going to read from their statement, folks. And you all have a primer now that the current Texas House Speaker is a fake Republican who has done his best to continue the tradition of Republicans giving Democrats more power in the House than they earned at the ballot box. I'll give you a prime example. How many of you know who James Tallarico is? He's the Democrat Senate candidate in Texas. Do you know he still has chairmanships gifted to him in the Texas House by Republicans? He still has the imprimatur of being a chairman inside of the Texas House. Why? Because Republicans gave power to him that his party didn't earn at the ballot box. And they're still giving. He's the Democrat nominee for Senate. And the Republicans are still supporting him here in Texas. That shows you how sick this whole system has become, this so-called two-party system, which is not. I would love to have a two-party system back. It would be great to have a political party that actually opposes Democrats. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Here's what the Republican Party of Texas wrote. For only the second time in Texas history, the sitting Speaker of the Texas House will address delegates at our convention. Speaker Burrows is also stepping forward as a sponsor of the convention as well. That has never happened before. Before Speaker Burrows held office, he was a delegate and a precinct chair. He sat in on those same seats, had those same conversations, and understands exactly what it means to show up and help shape the future of Texas. We are grateful for his willingness not only to support this convention, but to be a part of it in a way that respects and recognizes the delegates who make this party strong. We look forward to welcoming Speaker Burrows to the 2026 Texas Republican Convention to a historic moment for our party and our state. Now, look, I know many of you are going to be tempted to blame the Republican Party of Texas. Don't. Now, folks, they've got to put on a convention. They have to. This is where the grassroots from all over, and it happens in Tennessee, it happens in Michigan, it happens in California. The parties put together these conventions, and it is a party for the parties. But there's also some camaraderie. There's also work that gets done. Now, for me, I say, you know what? You can do that over a Zoom call. You can do the work over a Zoom call. This opulent spending on hotels and the parties and the speeches and the convention center space, all this kind of stuff, that's just kind of window dressing. I understand it's great to have a party, and I get it. I understand why it's necessary to have these types of celebrations. But on the other hand, folks, if George Soros was planning on attending a Republican convention, maybe your Republican convention, and all he had to do was just buy his way in. He's gonna sponsor your Republican convention. Here comes Emperor Palpatine himself, folks. George Soros. Are we going to look the other way? I am getting blowback in my state of Texas from individuals who are willing to forget what Dustin Burrows is. He is a Republican elected with 49 Democrats and 36 fake Republican votes. He's a Democrat speaker. He's elected by a majority of Democrats as a Republican speaker. He's a Democrat-approved speaker. But because he's coming to the table with a whole bunch of money, all is forgiven. And folks, this is what he could do if he was going to actually. Some people are saying, well, maybe he wants to be a conservative now. Maybe he wants to be a Republican. Maybe. Okay, fine. Well, in my mind, there's something he could do tomorrow to start winning over conservatives. He could endorse Ken Paxton to be the next senator from the great state of Texas. He could donate the maximum amount of money allowable under the law to the Paxton campaign. He can get on stage, or he can say, no more Democrat chairmanship Republicans are not going to gift Democrats power to veto conservative bills anymore in the Texas House. Oh, and by the way, in the future, Republicans, if they're in the majority, only Republicans will elect the Speaker of the House if they're in the majority. Democrats will not have a say. Now, if he were serious about being a real Republican, if he were serious about being an actual conservative, he would do that. He has not done it thus far. So many of you who are not in the state of Texas are going, okay, Chris, bring this home. Why does it matter to me if I'm in Tennessee or I'm in Florida, where Governor DeSantis, I think I just saw a headline, Governor DeSantis signed the redistricting initiative into law, passed by both of his houses in his legislature, and the real deal, a real conservative. Because Ronald Reagan said that when you call yourself a Republican, that comes with a set of values that needs to be lived up to. And guys like Michael McCall and guys like John Cornyn and guys like John Thune and all the rest of them have not been living up to those principles. As I said, there are no unifying principles in the Republican Party at this point. There should be, but there are not. There are unifying principles in the Democrat Party. They're socialist, Marxist kooks and freaks, anti-American kooks, freaks, and nuts. That's what they are. Hey, you may oppose what they stand for, but at least they know what they stand for, right? Republicans don't. And they're about ready to hand over power to those very same socialists and Marxists that have done so much harm to this country over the last 20 or 30 years because of their inaction on the Save America Act. How many of you know Scott Presler? Scott Presler at Scott Presler on X, folks. And by the way, go visit me on X as well, because I commented on this at C Salcedo Show. At C Salcedo Show is where you can find all of this stuff listed if you want to read up. Scott Presler is doing something that I think a lot of Republicans ought to look into. He is posting a procedure on his account that shows all of you Republican voters where you can go and demand your money back. If you donated to Win Red, which is the Act Blue, but on the Republican side, and not as crooked or corrupt as Act Blue is. Act Blue is getting investigated and sued by the aforementioned Ken Paxton, the most conservative attorney general in America. He is now suing them. Not the Department of Justice under Trump, folks. Ken Paxton from Texas is suing them. Because, among other things, says the attorney general, Act Blue admitted they took foreign money and laundered it into Democrat campaigns. That's illegal if they can be proven. They've admitted it, so let's see if Ken Paxton can prove it. Anyway, so Scott Presler is putting out a procedure saying if you donated to Win Red and you made a donation saying, I want Republicans to behave as Republicans in opposition to Democrats, and then you saw John Thune and John Cornyn and the rest of the Senate Republicans turn their back on the Save America Act, saying, nope, no Save America Act for you, then you have every right to go to Win Red. And this is what Scott Presler is putting up. He's saying, go get your money back. They're going to steal your money with the help of Democrats anyway, right? Your tax money. Why do you have to donate out of your pocket to these people so they can go up to Capitol Hill and work against you? That's what Scott Presler is saying. And because of the intransigence of John Thune and fake Republicans on the Save America Act, Scott Presler is targeting first John Cornyn in the Texas runoff on May 26th. Take away John Thune's playthings, folks. Defeat every Republican. Defeat every Republican who has betrayed us in service to socialists. And I've got that list. I didn't come up with it, by the way. A conservative actually came up with it. Mark Meadows, former chief of staff to President Trump, former congressman. I will give you the names of those senators who Scott Presler says should not win re-election in the Republican primaries because they have betrayed their own voters. They have betrayed their country. in service to socialists. That list comes your way next on the Todd Starnes Show with me, Chris Salcedo. Be right back.
Hear what's happening from Todd along with the biggest newsmakers first on the Todd Starnes Show.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free. Why are radical Islamists and radical progressives, groups that could not be more different, working together? The answer will shock you. Dr. Michael Youssef has spent decades studying this from the inside, and in his most urgent book yet, An Unholy Alliance, he tears the mask off a coordinated assault on American freedom and Judeo-Christian civilization. Foreign funding, institutional cowardice, cultural infiltration in our schools, our cities, and even our churches. It is not a conspiracy theory. This is happening right now. An Unholy Alliance gives you the 1,400-year backstory behind today's headlines and a practical action plan to fight back with faith and courage. Dr. Youssef says this is the wake-up call the church needs now. So don't wait. Get your copy of An Unholy Alliance by Dr. Michael Youssef, available wherever books are sold. Again, An Unholy Alliance by Dr. Michael Youssef, available where books are sold. We are living in dangerous and unstable times. Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Starnes. Pandemics, international insecurity, shortages, supply chain disruptions, and an economy on the brink. We know we can't simply trust the government to protect us. Now more than ever, everyone needs to be prepared. And being prepared is more than just stockpiling ammo, food, and supplies. Being prepared should also include stockpiling critical prescription medications. And that's where my friends at the Wellness Company come in. Their medical emergency kit contains the prescriptions, antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics that you need to keep you and your family safe, from anthrax to tick bites to COVID, and even to a bioweapon like the plague. The Wellness Company's medical emergency kit is exactly what you need to have on hand to be prepared. Go to twc.health/Starnes today and order. That's twc.health/Starnes. Use the promo code STARNS and you're going to save an extra 10%.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Everybody, it's Todd Starnes Show. Got me, Chris Salcedo, filling in. I do a radio program myself. I like to fancy it a daily excursion into critical thinking. I have dedicated to making my audience the most informed audience in media. So that's kind of what I do. And, you know, when I was on television, I was doing pretty much the same thing. Let me inform you about these fake Republicans in the United States Senate who have taken donations, and those donations have been used to keep these people in place. And what is their legacy item? Agreeing with leftists and Marxists nearly at every turn. I want to thank Congressman Mark Meadows for outing these Republicans who have been basically instrumental in defeating the Save America Act, folks. Voting integrity. They want to keep the Democrats' ability to cheat at the ballot box going. Their names: John Barrasso, John Bozeman, Shelley Moore Capito, Susan Collins, Tom Cotton, Kevin Kramer, Mike Crapo, John Daines, John Curtis, Deb Fisher, Chuck Grassley, John Hoven, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, James Langford, Lisa Murkowski, Jerry Moran, Pete Ricketts, Tim Scott, John Thune, Tom Tillis, Roger Wicker, and Todd Young. Let me give you some other names. These are, air quotes, Republicans who have joined leftists, and after Beijing Biden and the Democrat Party flooded this country with criminal illegal aliens to the tune of over 15 to 20 million illegal aliens in 4 years, they now want to legalize them. These Republicans: Maria Elvira Salazar, Mike Lawler, David Velado, Dan Newhouse, Mike Kelly, Brian Fitzpatrick, Gabe Evans, Marlon Stutzman, Don Bacon, Young Kim, Mario Diaz-Balart, James R. Baird, Kimberlyn King Hines, James C. Del Moynihan, Monica de la Cruz, Nick LaLota, Neil P. Dunn, and Jennifer A. Kiggins. These individuals call themselves Republicans, but are unified with individuals who have facilitated an invasion of our country by millions of unvetted illegal aliens from 168 countries around this globe. And to bring it back home to Texas, my friends, John Cornyn, he hates the border wall. He hates border security. Here he is in the Karl Rove Never Trump Network. Have a listen.
He needs to do tomorrow night to make some headway, because the approval disapproval on the wall, those numbers have been about the same for 2.5 years. What can he say tomorrow night that will convince people to move in his direction?
Okay, that's he's talking about Trump. She is Dana Perino, former Bushie, right? You will hear John Cornyn's response on how the wall is just bad news. Back in a minute.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies and fiber and spice supplements. Our ingredients are 16 whole fruits, 15 whole vegetables, 4 powerful fibers, and 12 aromatic spices. It's one irresistible combo.
Oh, I have a friend, Julia, who has taken a Balance of Nature now for quite some time, and she said, "Oh, Becky, ask your doctor about taking Balance of Nature." So I talked to my doctor about it, and she said, "Oh, try it."
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
At a time when technology is often used to distort the truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI designed to help you understand God's Word and grow spiritually. Unlike generic AI tools that give vague or unbiblical answers, My Faith Assistant is anchored in Scripture, built on seminary-level resources, and shaped by more than 50 years of trusted teaching from Dr. Michael Youssef. And it's free, no login required. Try it today at myfaithassistant.com.
A senior living community in Omaha, Nebraska is in big trouble after they banned grandmas from decorating their commons area with Christmas ornaments. It happened at Millard Manor Senior Apartments run by Housing and Urban Development. Residents were told that Christmas decorations, including nativity scenes, violated the rules. Now, a few years ago, the same group banned the elderly from gathering on the property for a Bible study. The American Center for Law and Justice is representing some of the residents. They say the law is very clear. The Fair Housing Act bans discrimination on the basis of religion. Singling out nativity scenes is discrimination. The ACLJ says they will take action if the hostility against Christians is not remedied. As their attorney said, the Constitution does not take off for the holidays. You know, it sounds like that apartment complex is run by the management firm of Grinch, Gruber, and Scrooge. I have much more to say about this at toddstarnes.com.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's conservative blowtorch.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. You got Chris Salcedo in for Todd Starnes today. He's on the mend. I'll get you an update on that coming up here in the next hour. Before I bring on this hour's guest, I do want to give a little bit of a review for those who are just joining. We've been taking to task something that's been going on in the state of Texas. And as a Texan, folks, I got to tell you, so goes Texas, so goes the rest of the nation. We lose Texas, which a lot of fake Republicans are working very hard to turn over control of Texas back to these leftists and these Marxists. We lose Texas, lose the whole shooting match. As wonderful as DeSantis is, as great as the state of Florida is at setting the standard for what a Republican is supposed to be. By the way, I was right, folks. They just signed the new redistricting maps into law, did DeSantis. So it's going to go. And by the way, the Democrats have been doing this for decades to Republicans, and the Republicans, we don't want to make them angry. Guys like John Cornyn don't want to make Democrats angry, so we won't gerrymander as aggressively as they have been. In 9 Democrat states, folks, you have populations of Republican voters anywhere from over a third to nearly 50% of the electorate and 0 Republican representation in Congress. 0. And that's what Democrats call fair. That's what Democrats call, that's the way things ought to be. And the minute the Republicans start fighting fire with fire is when Democrats start crying foul. And some Republicans, Ari Fleischer, George W. Bush's press secretary, navel gazing. Oh no, we're making Democrats mad. This is a failure. No. Joining the fight finally is something that should have been happening. Republicans should have been prioritizing protecting their voters and our people from leftists and Marxists, and they have not done so. Guys like John Cornyn, where does he go? He goes onto the Karl Rove Never Trump Network to talk with Dana Perino, who is, remember, Bushy's former press secretary. And of course, she's going to make this silly assumption that the people of Texas don't want a border wall between Mexico and the great state of Texas, because we've got to be able to see our loving Texas, our loving Mexican friends across the border as they are selling out their own country to narco terrorists and others, right? Listen to Dana Perino set up John Cornyn. By the way, folks, I'm sure this isn't coordinated at all.
He needs to do tomorrow night to make some headway, because the approval disapproval on the wall, those numbers have been about the same for 2.5 years. What can he say tomorrow night that will convince people to move in his direction?
Well, Dana, I think, coming from Texas with the 1,200-mile common border with Mexico, the idea of a wall is somewhat off-putting to a lot of people.
No, every single Texan that I've run into anyway wants border security, doesn't want illegal immigration. And every legitimate law enforcement official that I've talked to about a border wall, something they call a force multiplier. You need fewer men to do the job when you have force multipliers in the field like the wall. And John Cornyn has been against the border wall, voted against funding the border wall. Telephone number for us, folks, 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. Let me bring on Representative Brian Harrison. Folks, he used to work with President Trump as the chief of staff for President Trump at HHS. He is now a representative in the state of Texas in the 10th state district there in the great state of Texas. Sir, my friend, welcome to the Todd Starnes Show with me, Chris Salcedo.
Chris Salcedo, it is always great to be with you, my friend, and congratulations. Thrilled to join you here on the Todd Starnes National Radio Show today.
Thank you, man. Look, I wanted to go over, because I've been instructing the national audience here on what has transpired in Texas. A lot of people are shocked to find out that the Texas House is actually run by Democrats, even though there's a vast majority that is Republican. They are shocked to find out that the current so-called Republican speaker was elected by 49 Democrats and 36 fake Republicans. And when I informed the audience that Dustin Burrows not only has been given a prime speaking role at the convention where all the conservatives go to set policy for the Republican Party and to try to guide the Republican Party, which, as you know, then Republican politicians quickly ignore everything they do at the convention. But the fact that he not only is going to be given a speaking role, but he basically donated a lot of money to do that. What is your take on Speaker Burrows speaking at the convention?
Well, just because we're dealing with a national audience here who may not be as familiar with Texas politics, I feel like I got to highlight a couple of things you just went over so folks understand what we're dealing with. After serving as President Trump's chief of staff at the biggest cabinet agency in his first term, I moved back home to Texas, was elected to the Texas legislature, and I was excited to lock arms with all these elected Republicans in Texas because I thought that every elected Republican in Texas was fighting as hard for freedom and liberty of the next generation as those of us in the Trump administration. And the state of Texas has got this reputation, right, for leading and small government and low taxes and low regulations and bold conservative leadership. And Chris, nothing could have shocked me or prepared me for the shock of learning after I got elected that basically red Texas, bold conservative Texas, is a myth. And Texas has just been coasting on that reputation. And worse, not only are we just coasting on our reputation, the Texas government, in particular the Texas House, has actually allowed and is controlled by the radical progressive Democrats. And it's, in fact, the Democrat caucus that elects the leadership team in the Republican-dominated House. And that's insane to say. When I got elected, 40% of our committee chairmen were chaired by radical Democrats. I mean, imagine if, Speaker Johnson made Nancy Pelosi chair of the Ways and Means or let AOC run the Energy and Commerce Committee. That insanity literally has been going on in Texas for almost 2 decades. The most powerful person in the Texas House is a Barack Obama White House lawyer. He's our parliamentarian, and his job is to kill Republican priorities on behalf of the fake rhino establishment sellout establishment. So that's exactly right. And what happened last 1 year ago, is even though the Republican caucus had their nominee for Speaker, sure enough, the Democrat caucus had their candidate. His name was Dustin Burrows, and a handful of rhinos teamed up with the Democrat caucus. They formed a majority and elected the Democrats' choice for Speaker in the Texas House of Representatives. That's why I made the motion to vacate it. And I'm sorry, Chris, you said before, as goes Texas, so goes the nation. We're in a fight for the future of Western civilization here. And if Republican states like Texas cannot be counted on to fight and stand up for bold Republicans. Ronald Reagan used to talk about Republicans needing to paint with bold colors, no more pale pastels. And in Texas, sadly, with these fake rhinos that are just too profligate, too many of them down here, not only are we not painting with bold colors, we're not even painting with pastels. Half of these Republicans down here, they're playing for the other team.
Yep.
And I'm grateful for you exposing it to a national audience, Chris.
Well, folks, there's another aspect of this I want to get in with Mr. Harrison, because for those of you who are not part of this convention atmosphere, just so you know what the Republican conventions, the Democrat conventions all over the country, in the individual states, they are where the grassroots from both sides come together to try to formulate policy. There's a lot of positive energy. It is needed. So I'm not going to necessarily poo-poo the conventions itself, even though I'm going to say they can be done on a Zoom meeting. All the administrative stuff can be done in a Zoom meeting. You don't need all the opulent spending. You don't need the hotels and the restaurants, even though it's good for the economy. I understand that. But Mr. Harrison, it bears pointing out that legislators from Texas and every state, they are supposed to be donating money to help defray the costs for the grassroots. But in Texas, none of these fake Republicans are donating. Like John Cornyn, what did he donate last year? He donated lanyards. And by the way, all those lanyards ended up being thrown into the trash because nobody would wear a John Cornyn lanyard at the Republican convention. So none of these fake Republicans who joined Democrats to elect the speaker, none of them are donating to the convention, right? And that's what allowed
most of them don't even show up. I mean, most of these fake, rhino establishment Republicans, they don't want to be within 100 miles of grassroots patriots.
Why?
The type that show
yeah,
up at the convention.
And that's what I'm saying. Why do you think they're not doing that?
Well, they don't like the convention. They don't like the Republican Party. They don't like what it stands for, and they don't like people holding them accountable. I mean, that's the number one thing is they don't want people scrutinizing or even knowing about their total betrayals. And in the case of Speaker Burrows, I mean, there may be no bigger traitor than somebody who literally teamed up with the Democrats to thwart the Republican leadership team and take it on. This is the same guy, by the way, speaking to a national audience, guys. We got a Senate race coming up. No matter who wins the primary, they're going to face the most radical leftist to ever run for office from Texas, James Tallarico. But here's the most underreported, most scandalous, but least understood aspect of the James Tallarico saga. He didn't come up just through the Democrat ranks. No. James Tallarico was aided in his rise to national prominence by Speaker Burrows, by the fake Republicans who control the House, because I'm going to say this slowly so people can hear this. You're going to scratch your head. James Tallarico, radical 6 genders, James Tallarico, God is non-binary, James Tallarico, his choice for Speaker of the Texas House, Dustin Burrows.
Yep.
He helped elect Dustin Burrows, voted for Dustin Burrows, and in return, Dustin Burrows platformed him, made him co-chair of multiple committees, prioritized his legislation, and set him on the path to becoming the Democrat nomination for Senate. And I will never legitimize Dustin Burrows' leadership or speakership in the Texas House, because that in of itself is a massive betrayal to the Republican principles, the Republican Party, the Republican values, and Republican voters.
Representative Brian Harrison, 10th District in the state of Texas, folks, my guest right now. He worked at Trump's HHS and did a great job before he came home to Texas and ran for a state office here. So let me ask you about, as we turn our attention to the national level, so what's happening in Texas is happening on the national level with the Senate Republicans refusing to return to the Founding Fathers' vision for the filibuster. They think Mitch McConnell and John Thune, John Barrasso, John Cornyn, they all think that they know better than the founding fathers of this country, keeping the zombie filibuster, not making the Democrats stand, and they're denying election integrity ahead of the 2026 midterm. In other words, keeping the ability for Democrats to cheat at the ballot box going strong. What is your take on the intransigence of Senate Republicans and not passing the Save America Act?
Well, I think there's something in the water in the D.C. swamp. And, Lord, I spent years fighting the swamp in D.C. I understand it. And there's this groupthink, conventional wisdom in D.C. And not only is it wrong, it's 180 degrees wrong. Conventional wisdom in the Austin swamp and the D.C. swamp and all the other swamps is that for Republicans to win, you've got to moderate. You've got to treat the Democrats nicer, okay? Be just a little bit more liberal, and then maybe the media will be nice to you, and maybe you'll get more voters. It's hogwash. It's been bunk and malarkey for a generation, but weak establishment Republicans keep falling for it. Half of them are too stupid to know any better, but they keep falling for it because it makes them popular in the swamp. But here's the truth about the electoral politics of this, Chris. I know you know this. Republicans don't win elections by being weak. Republicans don't win elections by being Democrat-like. Republicans win elections when their voters are energized. And what makes their voters energized? What makes Republican voters energized is the belief that the sacrifice of the generations that fought and died for our freedom will not be in vain. What motivates Republican voters is the belief that their children and grandchildren will inherit a state and a country where freedom and liberty are protected. And so I would go the opposite direction. You want to win in the midterms? Go hard, go bold for conservatism now. And in the state of Texas, we should lead. Why are we sitting on our duff? I've been begging the governor, call a special session now today. Let's start eliminating property taxes today. Let's deal with the threat from Sharia law today. Let's repeal the big government liberal cancer that's crept into the state government. Let's repeal Hollywood subsidies. Let's ban spending tax dollars on DEI and transgender indoctrination that's happening in all of our public universities. Let's actually pass stronger state-level border security bills, something we haven't done. Let's pass stronger election integrity bills. If we behaved bold, that's how you guarantee electoral success of the ballot box. And you mentioned Governor DeSantis, the greatest, most bold governor in the country. Florida used to be a purple state. Now it's solidly red, and it didn't get that way by squishy Republicans. No, it got that way from bold Republican leadership emanating from the top. Texas could learn from it, and national Washington Republicans should learn from that. You want to win at the midterms? Be bold, do the right thing, and who cares what the media writes about you? The next generation is more important.
Texas State Representative Brian Harrison, 10th District in the state of Texas. Sir, appreciate the commentary, appreciate the analysis. I think a lot of folks are with you. Thank you, man.
God bless you, Chris, and God bless the great state of Texas, and God bless America.
All right. Thanks, man. Telephone number here for the Todd Starnes Radio Show with me, Chris Salcedo, sitting in today, folks, 901-260-5926. 901-260-5926. I have a question for you. Some people in the state of Texas are saying, hey, we're going to look the other way because this fake Republican speaker is coming to the table with a whole bunch of money. Let me ask this audience, how much money does it take to buy you and your values? How much money does it take for you to compromise your values? Now, let me know. Let me know what that dollar figure is where you will abandon what you believe. You will abandon what you've espoused and believed and advocated for your entire life. What is that dollar figure? Let me know. Todd Starnes Radio Show with me, Chris Salcedo, 901-260-5926. Be right back.
You're with Todd Starnes.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free. Well, we've been talking a lot about how this time of year is crazy, insanely wild. You got the ball games, kids, grandkids schedules, yard work, you're outside more on the go. And let's be honest, there's no time to be perfect. No perfect diet, no perfect routine. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, because we've been told if you can't do it perfectly, it won't work. But that's just not true. Most people are not failing. They're just missing a piece.
And that's exactly what makes Calitrin different and the missing piece for so many people. It's not a stimulant, not some extreme plan. It's working with your body, especially while you sleep. My body didn't need perfection. It needed repair. It needed a boost. And when I added Calitrin, I was able to lose 40 pounds.
And for me, that was the missing piece, too, because real life doesn't pause for a diet.
You just need something that works with you, even when life's busy. And with the big spring reset sale, now is the time to save big. Go to toploss.com. That's TOPLOSS.com, or call 833-TOP-LOSS.
We're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go! Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when.
Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on...
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Glad you made it back, everybody, here to the Todd Starnes Show. It's me, Chris Salcedo. There is an update on Todd. We will get you here top of the next hour. I think the question I posited, some of you might thought it was a little flippant, but I think that if you ask the electorate, if you ask voters, how much money will you take to compromise your values, your love of America, your insistence that elections be free and fair, your insistence that the rule of law be adhered to, that it applies to everybody equally? I think the vast majority of you would say there's no amount of money ever that could make me compromise on those values. But sadly, I don't think our elected officials have that barometer. They can be bought off, and they can be given certain amounts of money to, how shall we say, compromise their professed values. Remember, as Reagan said, there is supposed to be a certain set of values that comes with being a Republican. And it's not just some exercise for branding. Oh, I call myself a Republican so I can get elected. But the conservative planks of the Republican Party mean nothing to me. Well, they mean nothing to certain people like the aforementioned John Cornyn. Folks, I know that this may seem ultimately self-serving that I am talking about this on talk radio, because John Cornyn has been such a disaster for the state in which I reside. But guess what, folks? Chances are, if you're among these 50 states that have fake Republicans in it, you're suffering too. And I meant what I said off the top of the show. The action in this year's election will all be in the GOP primary. When you elect a Democrat, the Democrat voters don't care to elect anybody who's American, don't care to elect anybody who is pro-Constitution. It's all happening in the Republican primary. And I think the state of Texas, with a runoff election coming up, we could send a message. The state of Texas is going to have to send that message to John Thune. Oh, you want to legislate against the will of the American people? Fine. But you're going to pay a steep price for that. It means you're going to lose your job. And it's about time our people remembered an elementary fact. We outnumber them.
Great if life came with a remote control. You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash. Fantastic. Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control, right. So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds. Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Many college grads are anti-capitalist activists, so if you're a business owner, how do you find new employees who won't destroy your business? Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and that's where Red Balloon comes in. They're America's #1 pro-freedom job board, and they're shaking up the hiring world by focusing on values and mission-aligned talent. Now, there are 2 ways Red Balloon can help. You can post your job on their national job board. Over 20,000 people visit every week. Or you can hire Red Balloon Recruiter for a more customized talent search. Now, the recruiter team is really fantastic. They start by learning your workplace culture and writing a custom job posting, and then they source and screen candidates from their national database. Their team conducts first interviews, and you get alerts when they find highly qualified candidates. And Red Balloon delivers these high-quality results at a fraction of traditional corporate recruiter prices. People are saying Red Balloon is a game changer. So check them out today, redballoon.work. Use the promo code STARNS and save $100 on Recruiter.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Folks, you got the Todd Starnes Radio Show. It's me, Chris Salcedo. I'm your liberty-loving Latino. Do not confuse me with loudmouth leftist Latinos out there. I actually love my country, the United States of America. All right, so let's go over what I mean by when I say the primaries are where it's going to be at this year. Let me tell you that and John Thune is not up for re-election this year. He doesn't face the voters until 2028. That's why he can be such a charlatan. That's why he can do what he's doing, because he is banking on you folks in South Dakota being as dumb as rocks, and that you're going to forget. You're going to forget by the time he is up for re-election his unwillingness and his hatred of the founding fathers of this country. We can't return to the vision of the founding fathers for the filibuster. By the way, the filibuster was never intended, folks, to stop debate. It was intended to foster debate. The zombie filibuster that we're doing right now inside the United States Senate, it stops debate. It prevents debate. All the Republicans or the Democrats, depending on which one is the minority, has to say is, oh, we're going to filibuster that. And they say, okay, we won't do it. That's it. No debate is ever had. So you guys can know. Here, we want to do voting integrity. Nope. Democrats a filibuster, and Republicans go, okay. Okay, we won't bring it up. Okay. Now, is that having it out? Is that discussing and debating? Folks, I did some back in the day when I was working for a CBS owned and operated station in Texas. I did a report on voting. Did you know that there are government checks to see whether or not the voter is 18 years old or not? If they have reached the age of consent, adults. Did you know that? Did you know your government can check as to whether or not you're 3 burritos short of a combination plate? Did you know that? Did you know that there are government checks to see if you're a felon, if you're prevented from voting because you have a felony conviction? Did you know that? And did you know there are no government checks for citizenship? And that's by law, friends. That's by law. So let me ask you, why do you think Republicans and Democrats colluded together to create a law that would check for every criteria except for citizenship? Why would they do such a thing, folks? So this is a long, simmering hole in our election system that needs to be plugged. The Save America Act enjoys 75 to 85% approval rating among our people. Tell me what issue 75 of our people agrees on at all. Tell me one issue where you get 75 to 85% buy-in from the American people across all party affiliations. Tell me one. I can't name one. Except for this. Except for voting integrity. Now, remember, when you elect a Democrat, you elect a dictator. And Democrat voters say, I elect Democrats to tell me what to do, how to live my life. And tax away from people who earn the money to give it to me, the crumbs that they leave for me. That's what a Democrat voter does. A Republican voter, a conservative, votes for a government of, by, and for the people. Self-government, meaning they are there to do our will, not their own. But so why do I say that? Because Democrat voters, when their elected officials tell them no to go screw themselves, Democrat voters go, okay, no problem, I'll do that. You tell me what to do. This is how I want. That's how they regard government. When Republicans do that to conservatives, Republicans say, come again? Excuse me? So what I'm asking you all to do is to get a little angry that the Republican Party in the United States Senate, the Republican officials in the United States Senate, have looked at you and said, no, we're not going to give the American people what they want. And I want you to contrast this, folks. Remember Obamacare? Remember Obamacare when it was being debated? Not one poll showed majority support for Obamacare. But the Democrats crammed it down our throats or up the nearest orifice anyway. They did it anyway. So that's the difference between the two political parties, my friends. You've got Republicans who won't deliver on a 75-85-15 issue, 85-15 issue. But you've got Democrats, even though they don't have the majority support among Americans, who will cram stuff down our throats, whether we like it or not. That's the difference. And at the end of the day, that means there is no difference, because leftists will always push leftist policies and Republicans will always push leftist policies. At the end of the day, those differences mean both parties are the same, doesn't it? You want to reach out and tell me, folks, where my logic is going wrong. I mean, we had Joe in the first hour who called up and said, come on, we got to remain positive. I am positive I don't want to be ruled by leftists and Marxists anymore. Ever again, frankly. Call us up, 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. So I already played one soundbite from a fake Republican saying that a border wall doesn't make sense. Do you guys agree with John Cornyn that a border wall doesn't make any sense? Well, here's John Cornyn pushing amnesty for illegal aliens, folks.
The proposal we made included border security, interior enforcements, improvements in the E-Verify system, and a path to legal status for DACA recipients and limits on certain type of chain migration. Members of the Republican conference, including myself, indicated a willingness to continue to negotiate and said this was our starting point.
Yep. Starting point. Remember when Ronald Reagan, folks, gave his amnesty? Gave 3 million illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, amnesty. And Ronald Reagan said it was the number one thing he regretted because he trusted Congress. Because the deal was increased border security so we'd never come down this road again, and then we would normalize those illegal aliens who busted into our country, right? Well, guess what? They normalized the criminal illegal aliens fast enough. But the border security never came. As you all know, before Beijing Biden's occupation of the Oval Office, this nation was home to 25 to 30 million illegal aliens. I know the official number has been 11 to 12 million illegal aliens for the last 30 years, but you would be an idiot if you thought that massive uncontrolled illegal immigration over 30 years kept the numbers at 11 to 12 million the entire 30 years. You'd be a complete moron. And nobody in this country who's been paying attention is a complete moron, the way those in Washington, D.C. think we are. And I will tell you this, that Republicans and Democrats have been legislating against the will of the American people on illegal immigration for the better part of a half century. They have betrayed us, our people, on this issue. Both political parties, the uniparty. So you got Cornyn saying he hates the wall, hates border barriers because they're a force multiplier that stops his illegal aliens. And then once they get here, here's John Cornyn reflecting the Dignidad Act, folks, passed by or proposed by Maria Elvira Salazar and Mike Lawler and Don Bacon, right? Those fake Republicans saying, oh yeah, they're here now. The Democrats bring them in and Republicans normalize them. Is that what you voted for, my friends? How about this? How about you folks around the country? Do you prize your Second Amendment? Here's John Cornyn, folks, saying that unconstitutional, unlawful attacks on your due process rights and your Second Amendment rights, he trusts the blue states to violate the Constitution. This is John Cornyn saying, I support the blue states breaking the U.S. Constitution. Listen.
I trust the states to make their own decisions, and 16 states have decided to pass red flag laws. But that's fewer than half of the states with red flag laws on the books. Congress should not only send federal funding to those states, but also other states that are doing things to deal with people in crisis.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't care about illegal aliens invading your country, for those of you who don't care about giving amnesty to the criminal illegal aliens, how about your Second Amendment? Yeah, those of you who say we got to be positive, let's just forget that John Cornyn worked with socialists to impose new gun restrictions that would deny due process rights, red flag laws, folks, we should call them blue flag laws. Basically, all you got to have is some whacked out neighbor who says, so-and-so is going to go crazy with his firearms. And then the blue states get to break into your home and take your guns. until they can sort it all out, right? Denial of due process. The action comes first. The due process comes later if it comes at all in a blue state. And John Cornyn, you heard him. I trust blue states.
I trust the states to make their own decisions.
This has led folks to Ken Paxton creating an ad about John Cornyn. Now, what I'm going to tell you folks, John Cornyn is just like all those other fake Republicans I listed earlier from the United States Senate. He's just like all of them. And that's why they're fighting so hard, folks. What you need to know, how many of you donated to the Republican Party? Well, Chris Salcedo and FP1 Strategies dedicated your money to defeating Ken Paxton and putting this rhino back in $100 million to defeat a conservative, not Democrats. That's what's happened, folks. $100 million spent by the National Republican Senatorial Committee to put this shrub, this fake Republican, back in and to defeat conservatives. The Republican establishment, led by guys like Chris Salcedo and FP1 Strategies, working to defeat conservatives and keep surrender caucus Republicans in power so they can sell you out another day. And that led to this ad from Ken Paxton.
John Cornyn is pro-amnesty. Cornyn pushed Joe Biden's amnesty agenda and said you should just deal with illegals.
You know, the American people are a compassionate people. I think they would find a way to deal with the 12 million people.
Cornyn even attacked Trump's border wall as naive and said a wall makes no sense.
The new giant wall between the United States and Mexico makes no sense whatsoever.
Cornyn, good for illegals, bad for Texans.
I'm Ken Paxton, and I approve this message.
John Cornyn came in over the weekend and said that ad was a lie. The ad quoted him directly and said it was a lie. That takes chutzpah, folks, to gaslight the people of Texas. By the way, all these other fake Republicans in the United States Senate right now are doing the same thing in your states. Any of you angry enough to make them pay for betraying you? I'm telling you, folks, the Republican primary is where real change will come this year. Call me up, 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. How much could these people pay you to abandon your principles? Let me know. Chris Salcedo in for Todd Starnes. Be right back.
Todd Starnes. America has a new choice for fair and balanced news. ToddStarnes.com. Journalism you can trust from some of the best reporters and opinion writers in the business. ToddStarnes.com takes you to the front lines of the culture war, defending faith, freedom, and your family. ToddStarnes.com also features exclusive interviews with America's top newsmakers like Mike Huckabee, Franklin Graham, and Newt Gingrich. Find out why millions of Americans read ToddStarnes.com every day. It's news you can trust. ToddStarnes.com.
For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all three of the main networks. Patriot Mobile's all-U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT, code Todd. Why are radical Islamists and radical progressives, groups that could not be more different, working together? The answer will shock you. Dr. Michael Youssef has spent decades studying this from the inside, and in his most urgent book yet, An Unholy Alliance, he tears the mask off a coordinated assault on American freedom and Judeo-Christian civilization. Foreign funding, institutional cowardice, cultural infiltration in our schools, our cities, and even our churches. It is not a conspiracy theory. This is happening right now. An Unholy Alliance gives you the 1,400-year backstory behind today's headlines and a practical action plan to fight back with faith and courage. Dr. Youssef says this is the wake-up call the church needs now. So don't wait. Get your copy of An Unholy Alliance by Dr. Michael Youssef, available wherever books are sold. Again, An Unholy Alliance by Dr. Michael Youssef, available where books are sold.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements.
changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not a young guy, and I'm an ex-athlete. Well, yeah, when I was shaking it, I recognized that I was feeling better. You know what I'm saying? And just mentally knowing is important also.
I am a customer of you guys. I love your product. Love it, love it. Nothing but good things to say about your product. I love it. And as long as y'all are going to sell it, I'm going to take it as long as I can.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right, folks, welcome back. Let me get to the phones. We got Chris Salcedo in for Todd Starnes. Let's go to WSIC and have a conversation with Charles. Hey, Charles, welcome to the Todd Starnes Show with me, Chris Salcedo.
Hey, Chris, how you doing this afternoon?
Doing great, man. Thanks.
So, Chris, here's a question I want to ask you. Everything you're saying is spot on about illegal immigration, John Cornyn. But getting to the SAVE Act, to me, that is really the only issue right now, because if we don't have secure elections, we're going to lose, and the Democrats are going to get power, and they're going to implement this radical agenda like packing the Supreme Court and doing all these crazy things. So, and rhinos, we know, you've named the rhinos that have been, putting up resistance to passing it. But I got to tell you, as much as I like Trump, I'm really disappointed in him that he has not called for an emergency legislative session of the Senate like he's authorized to do under, I think, Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution. I mean, why doesn't he call them into session and say, look, guys, you're going to stay here. I don't give a damn if it takes 7 months, but you're working 7 days a week and you're passing the SAVE Act, or you're not going home. You're not going home to campaign. You're not doing anything. You're going to have a speaking filibuster, and this act is going to pass. And or nothing else is getting done.
I don't know about the power of the president to do that to the United States Senate, but I will tell you, Charles, I'm befuddled because it's not just the Save America Act. The United States Senate is also actively Republicans are preventing President Trump's nominees from getting approved. When they went on their most recent vacation, their long vacation, they just got back from another one, because they're running out the clock. You can tell they're running out the clock. They put the Congress into a pro forma session of Congress to prevent Trump from making recess appointments to these key positions, because those key positions would be in charge of prosecuting Democrats for their violation of law. So the Democrats say, we don't want these prosecutors filled so they can't come after us. And John Thune and fake Republicans agreed. And so they're preventing justice. They're defending socialists and Marxists. They're trying, it seems to me, I don't know what you feel about this, Charles, but it seems to me they're trying to get back to corruption as usual on Capitol Hill, and Trump is in their way. So you got Thune and company working with socialists and Democrats to turn over the country back to these people so that elections won't matter at all in the future. Seems that's what my read on it is. What do you think?
I agree with you. I mean, Chris, it's almost just like the Republicans in the Senate and the House. Some of them, they don't want to win. They like being in the minority where they can, complain the whole time. But it's all performative, all this, all of it. But there is a provision in the Constitution, Chris. I want to say it's Article 2, Section 3, where the President of the United States has the authority to call an emergency session of Congress, and I think for either one house or both houses. And I just don't understand why he doesn't do that with the U.S. Senate. And in the same sentence, call for the removal of John Thune as the majority leader unless he gets this passed. And ask for 5 or 7 Republicans to step forward and say, all right, let's do it. Tired of complaining. Let's put up or shut up. Let's. I need 5 of you to vote to have to remove John Thune.
Well, but again, who's gonna step in? I mean, remember, there are over 20 fake Republicans in the United States Senate right now who would probably put in somebody worse. Here's Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution. He, meaning the president, shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them in a case of disagreement between them with respect to the time of adjournment. He may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. So I guess by reading of that, he could call the Senate because of their disagreement with the House on the Save America Act. I mean, in theory. But remember, folks, President Trump isn't complaining either about all of his nominees being stalled out right now, which is also making me scratch my head. What is happening with President Trump and his agenda? It looks like it's collapsing courtesy of Republicans.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Thought, well, just for the heck of it, I'll try this Balance of Nature. But I thought, all right, I'll do it for 1 month, and then I can cancel. And so I ordered it for 1 month. I have told so many people about this stuff. They think I'm crazy. So for me to say I would continue to do it means it's got to be good.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
At a time when technology is often used to distort the truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI designed to help you understand God's Word and grow spiritually. Unlike generic AI tools that give vague or unbiblical answers, My Faith Assistant is anchored in Scripture, built on seminary-level resources, and shaped by more than 50 years of trusted teaching from Dr. Michael Youssef. And it's free, no login required. Try it today at myfaithassistant.com.
A senior living community in Omaha, Nebraska is in big trouble after they banned grandmas from decorating their commons area with Christmas ornaments. It happened at Millard Manor Senior Apartments run by Housing and Urban Development. Residents were told that Christmas decorations, including nativity scenes, violated the rules. Now, a few years ago, this same group banned the elderly from gathering on the property for a Bible study. The American Center for Law and Justice is representing some of the residents. They say the law is very clear. The Fair Housing Act bans discrimination on the basis of religion. Singling out nativity scenes is discrimination. The ACLJ says they will take action if the hostility against Christians is not remedied. As their attorney said, the Constitution does not take off for the holidays. You know, it sounds like that apartment complex is run by the management firm of Grinch, Gruber, and Scrooge. I have much more to say about this at toddstarnes.com.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute. from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's favorite gun-toting, Bible-clinging, deplorable American.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, folks. Hey, welcome back. It's hour 3 of the Todd Starnes Show. You got me, Chris Salcedo, sitting in. I try to put on, when I do my radio show, a daily excursion into critical thinking, and that's kind of what I do. I try to make my audiences the most informed in media. Telephone number is 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. Got a guest coming up, Colonel Tony Schaefer standing by, but I have a pastor standing by. I'm going to go with God first, always, folks. I'm going to go with God first. So if you have somebody who's representing the Lord, you always want to take him. Pastor John is waiting from Kentucky, KWAM. Pastor, welcome to the Todd Starnes Show with me, Chris Salcedo.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to be very pastoral today, but first thing I want to compliment you, Mr. Alzado. You know, I talked to you a while back and said, "Are you sure you're not related to Lyle Alzado?" Well, you sure act like him. He was a defensive, crazy man on the field, and in your capabilities as talk show host, you're displaying that same ferocity that Lyle Alzado did on the football field. So
those are very kind words, and I do remember the great Lyle Alzado. He was when I was watching the NFL before they went woke. I loved the history, the history of the National Football League when it was pro-American. Sadly, it's no longer. But anyhow, you wanted to comment on what we've been talking about so far today.
Well, first of all, I've been a U.S. citizen since August 8th, 1968 at 12 p.m. I was sworn in at the U.S. Federal Court in Cleveland, Ohio. And I believe that the only reason why these politicians, both the House and the Senate, haven't done what they really want to do, and I really believe this because my mom, when she had a citizenship book, was 137 pages long and was only written in English, and she was Japanese, and she learned English, is that we had this Constitution, and in that Constitution, you had the Second Amendment. And with that Second Amendment, just before, we have the First Amendment. But you cannot have that First Amendment without that Second Amendment. And a lot of Americans fail to realize that. A lot of us served, a lot of us bled, and a lot of, those, Arlington is full of men and women that have protected that Constitution and our American way of life. And I don't know how many people that fled communist countries have been constantly warning the American people, don't listen, but they refuse to listen to the truth. And again, I sincerely believe, and it's preached from the pulpit, not my pulpit, but a couple of others, that pastors are saying, you cannot have that First Amendment without the Second Amendment. And that's where our founding fathers started, in small churches. And if the American people fail to realize that, as you have said, with that ferocity of Lyle Alzado, Mr. Alzado, if you do not listen, we will lose this country. And that is my greatest fear. And one more thing, and if people refuse to listen to that, Thomas Jefferson said it best, and I'll hang up and listen for your comments. The greatest danger to this republic, not a democracy, it's not mob rule, it's a republic, is the uninformed electorate. God bless you, Mr. Alzado.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, Pastor. Appreciate the comparison to the great Lyle Alzado. That's I gotta say, that's a first, folks. It's the first one. Telephone number, if you want to reach out to me and have a conversation, 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. Chris Salcedo in for Todd Starnes, which I'll get you an update on his condition, folks. I know many of you are worried about him, so I'll get you that update coming up after I welcome on retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer, somebody who has served this country in uniform. He's a Newsmax contributor, and he is the founder of and president of Project Sentinel. Colonel, welcome.
Hey, Chris, always great to be on with you. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Well, a couple of reasons I wanted to invite you on. I wanted to get an update and your analysis on the operation in Iran. But before I get to all that, why don't you address what the pastor was talking about? And why John Cornyn is such an affront to so many Americans as he worked with these leftists and these Marxists to disarm the American people with his unconstitutional red flag law financing system, forcing us all to finance blue state red flag laws. What do you think about that?
So most of the country, Chris, enjoy the Second Amendment, and I agree with the pastor. It's linked to the First. They're interlocked for a good reason. And I live in rural North Carolina, and everybody here has guns, and I see people walking around open carry. And we have a fraction of the issues of big cities. And to your point regarding Cornyn, these people finance this left-wing lunacy of trying to believe that gun control is going to change culture, and it's not. We have a culture that enjoys and respects gun ownership, and the inner city has become essentially a cesspool of social experimentation that leans hard into communism. Look at Mondami. Most of the other large metropolitan cities are run by essentially Marxists. I mean, they are. And Brandon Johnson, Chicago. And it's always the blame on the inanimate object, not on, the culture. And this whole red flag thing is Orwellian. The idea here, Chris, is somehow we people are going to be able to, tell on our neighbor to report them, to say, oh, this guy is dangerous. Look, I know I live amongst retired Special Operations Forces folks down here. I talked to one today, and they are dangerous because that's what they're trained to do.
Yes.
But they're not dangerous where they're going to pick up a gun and go do something illegal with it. There's a big distinction. So this whole red flag thing opens the door to shenanigans by the left to accuse, law-abiding citizens who are dangerous because we've been trained to be dangerous, but we'll never do anything against society or our government. This is how this whole thing is being sold as somehow it's going to save lives. It's not. It's simply going to give the left a tool to use against law-abiding citizens.
And it turns the American assumption of innocent until proven guilty on its ear. John Cornyn believes you are guilty, and it's up to you to prove to the state that you're innocent. That is anti-American, and that is why John Cornyn and those of his ilk, there were other Republicans who supported this gun confiscation BS, who deserved to be drummed out of the United States Congress, not real Americans, in this conservative's opinion. So let's discuss, Colonel, you and me, the 30,000 feet up, the Iranian conflict. We've got gas prices bearing down on the politics of all of this, and it seems that we're kind of stalled out right now as far as to getting the Iranians, who are, from my vantage point, they're up against it. But how do you see this?
So let's start with what in the end. And I always believe, and I've been trained to do it. Believe, basically, you set your objectives with the end in mind. What you're trying to achieve. President Trump is blatantly, in my judgment, I see it, is going for 80% control or influence or otherwise being able to determine where it goes, 80% of global energy. That's what he's doing. And it's happening. The Venezuela issue was not by chance. He did that first. We've actually had Pete Hegseth down in Indonesia making agreements regarding the Straits of Malacca where something like 20% of global shipping goes through to make sure we control that, not the other guys. And ultimately, that's what's at stake here. And he's going against the London bankers, Davos, all those guys. And by the way, a little aside we should talk about sometime, James Comey, the indictment of Comey and all those folks, their job was to stop Trump from doing exactly what he's doing now. And they failed, thank goodness. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't prosecute Comey and those other folks for trying to prevent what Trump is doing now. Now, President Trump has decided within the context of dealing with a threat, a known threat, a threat that's now acting out in ways that are illegal regarding the Strait of Hormuz, he's decided now to take on Iran. And are we feeling some pain? Absolutely. Unfortunately, our gas, which is selling like hotcakes right now, by the way, Texas and other oil producers are going great guns trying to increase production, so the companies should be very happy about that. But what we're trying to do, Chris, is change the way governance is done at the global level. That's what President Trump is doing. He's trying to actually restore, in my judgment, the promise of 1776, our 250th anniversary coming up, and being able to live freely. Otherwise, we have globalists like Barack Obama, Cornyn, and others who somehow believe we and our interests should be subordinated to a larger world government. That's what's really going on. And so the London folks, Lords of London, Davos have always played both sides against the middle. They always win no matter who loses, and that's going to end. It's time for us to reassert kind of our principles globally. We're not going to run the globe, but we want to have a globe that basically is willing to trade, to interact, and do things in such a way that benefit the American people primarily, and the rest of the world. Other sovereign nations will have equal sovereignty, and we can work together as equals.
Folks, what the Colonel's talking about is spot on, that everything that is being done is to counter communist China, to undermine their presence in our hemisphere, and maybe even the atmosphere too. But their presence in our hemisphere, their influence that have been allowed to expand, those influences by Barack Hussein Obama and by Democrats who have been working, and frankly some Republicans like Mitch McConnell, who've been working to expand China's influence unduly. And a world where China's influence is dominant is a dark world indeed. And President Trump, everything he's doing is to curtail communist China's domination over the globe. So, and again, it may come at a political cost, but we'll see how it all goes. What is your evaluation of the Iranians' military capability at this point?
Military capability is gone. The problem is you still have the IRGC who's taken the Iranians' guard who protect the revolution, that is their Islamic revolution. They've taken charge of all means of controlling the government. That's why you see the chaos you see. And these people do believe, Chris, that in their version of Islam, and they are the Shia, they believe the 12th Imam, their Mahdi, their version of Jesus, will return if they create enough chaos and destruction. That's their belief. They believe that they must have the apocalypse for their disciple to return and reunify Islam. That's why they're holding out, and they have this extreme belief. And there are people in the Iranian government, Persians, who do want to have peace, who do want to get back to commerce and things like that. And unfortunately, they're not being as successful as I think we'd hope and being able to gain control. I do believe there's a popular uprising coming. I think we've been able to open the way for a lot of the elements, the Green Party and other elements within Iran, to start looking at how they can upend the government, which is now controlled by the IRGC. But for the most part, yeah, we are now kind of in a waiting game to see how long this takes. And let me make this very clear for your audience to understand. Everything Iran is doing at this point regarding the Strait of Hormuz is illegal. They have no legal basis to do anything they're doing. As a matter of fact, I would have started with kind of dealing with their fleet of tankers first. If I were the president, I would seize every one of their tankers. We've got 60 plus in our possession. That's a lot of oil that we should just take and seize as booty of war. And then the Iranians, are violating every convention that they've ever signed. And by the way, they've never signed up to the 1958 UNCLOS, which is basically the Law of the Sea Convention. So they have no right of anything. As a matter of fact, according to what they've agreed upon, they have no more than a 3-mile limit off their shore that they can have dominance of based on what treaties they've signed. So this whole thing of them acting out, saying that we're violating the ceasefire by enforcing UN regulations and rules, by allowing for free trade and commerce to go through the strait, is insane. And I can't believe the American media, the international media, some on the left are actually applauding what the Iranians are doing, because literally the Iranians are trying to upend the economy for purposes of their own revolution.
Colonel Tony Schaefer, our guest right now, folks, Project Sentinel. He is the president of Project Sentinel. What did you make of Trump's letter? Not only his letter to Congress saying, hey, well, technically all hostilities have ended, so I don't need the Congress's approval because the War Powers Act is now null and void because hostility has stopped. And then the president also saying that he is launching a humanitarian mission to rescue the ships that are being held hostage by Iran.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, that's why I outlined the law first, Chris. We are completely in pristine shape regarding legality. Right now, we're trying to basically get ships moving. Some of these ships, Chris, have been sitting there since the beginning of this war with no replenishment. I mean, these crews are going nuts, and it's not their fault. And we're talking about all nationalities, all flavors. And by the way, again, the Europeans are absent as usual because they're not participating in any substantive way. But the president is rightly saying we, the United States, are going to go through and reopen the strait for commerce, and we're going to make sure we do that using military force. That is completely detached, by the way, from the conflict with Iran. And I do agree with he and Pete Hegseth said the same thing. It's like, yeah, we're done with combat operations. Now we're in peacekeeping operations, which is essentially completely legal in what he's doing.
Yes, and I can just imagine the hair pulling from the Iranian apologists on both parties in the Congress. The last thing I wanted to address with you, and I think this was a long time coming, and I think we're going to see more of this. 5,000 troops have been removed, and possibly more, out of Germany after Germany has basically parted ways, let's be charitable, with the United States and our actions against the number one state sponsor of terrorism. Look, my view is that Europe has fallen. Europe has abandoned Western civilization, and I'll be damned as an American if I'm going to finance it. What do you say?
Yeah. So Germany is on a death spiral by its own making regarding economics. It basically refuses to accept Russian oil. It is what it is. I'm not here to judge yes or no if that's good or bad, but it is what it is. And they've taken and shut down all the nuclear plants, which, as a guy who's got a degree in environmental studies, that is the most effective, most carbon-free way of generating energy. But they got rid of that because of reasons. And their economy is now in a death spiral. So it's probably good we're detaching. With that said, regarding the troops, Chris, Poland, if I were the president, I would publicly move the Fifth Corps, which is currently based in Wiesbaden, Germany, move it forward to Poland. I mean, you kill two birds with one stone. You leave Germany, you put our troops in a place where they can be more effective in deterring the Russians, if that's an objective, which it is. So let's do it. And the Poles love us. We love them. They love us. Why would we want to economically benefit Germany with all of the money we bring in from our deployments and from our forward bases there, when Poland, a better ally, could benefit from it? So I'm all for shutting down 90% of what we have in Germany and just moving things forward. I think that'll benefit those who deserve it, the Poles, and it'll defund. I mean, I don't think the Germans fully understand, Chris, how much money comes into their economy from our presence there, and I think they're going to learn the very hard way.
Yeah, they're about ready to find out. All right, Tony Schaefer, Colonel Tony Schaefer, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate the visit as always.
Sure, thank you.
Telephone number here, folks. You want to reach out to the Todd Starnes radio program and talk about anything we've been talking about. 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. An update on Todd's condition coming up on the Todd Starnes Show.
Making radio great again. The Todd Starnes Radio Show.
Hey everybody, Todd Starnes here, and I've got to tell you about my friends at PhD Weight Loss, my very good friends at PhD Weight Loss. I'm down 12 pounds already, and at PhD Weight Loss, they've identified that one thing, and they built a plan that works with your body and not against it. If you call now, they're going to give you 2 free weeks in the program and pay for your food so you can finally see real results without more trial and error. If you're done with the yo-yo dieting and you want clarity, call PhD Weight Loss now and mention Starnes. No more guessing, just answers. Call 864-644-1900 and say Starnes. You're going to get 2 free weeks. You can't miss out on this, folks. 864-644-1900. Say the word Starnes or visit PhDweightLoss.com. That's PhDweightLoss.com. The phone number, one more time, 864-644-1900 and say Starnes. Hey, Todd Starnes here. Every day, Americans make choices that shape our country's future, right down to which cell phone provider we support. Now, here's what a lot of people don't realize. Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless provider. They're an activist organization funded by selling top-tier cell phone service, and they've been on the front lines defending our freedom long before it was cool, standing in the gap when others would not. And the best part is they deliver prioritized premium service on all 3 major U.S. networks. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you help grow a movement that fuels the Christian conservative cause. Every bill you pay helps advance the values of faith, family, and freedom. And switching is easier than ever. Activated minutes. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd. Call 972-PATRIOT. Make the switch today.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Folks, welcome back. Todd Starnes had a heart scare, folks. For those of you who wondering where he is, he had a heart scare. He was short of breath, and he had to visit the ER, and they said, well, man, we found one of your arteries 90% occluded. I'll walk this through. Todd sent out a statement on social media. I'll read through it to get you guys an update on this, but he's recovering. They got it, but he's going to need your prayers still. That's coming up next.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh. Really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey. We're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Todd Starnes Radio Show. You got me, Chris Salcedo, sitting in. I am your liberty-loving Latino. Do not confuse me with loudmouth leftist Latinos out there. I actually do love my country, whereas it is demonstrably provable, folks, they do not love this country. Daily excursion we do here, folks, into critical thinking. My job is to dismantle the left, dismantle their arguments, and make sure the audience that I am speaking to, addressing, is the most informed out there. That's what I try to do. Now, you know, folks, as you could tell, Todd Starnes and I have different styles, but the same commitment. Todd Starnes is a guy that somebody like me goes to to feel better about everything. And his eternal optimism is contagious. I know I'm not just telling you folks something you don't already know. So, I kind of came into today's show not knowing what was going on. I just thought it was that Todd needed a cover day. I had no idea he was facing a real health scare. And when I say real, folks, listen to this account put out by Todd. He wanted me to make sure that I kept you all entertained, but I wanted to make sure that you folks knew what was going on with him, because a lot of you do monitor his social media posts and are concerned. And so this is the update he gave 2 days ago, and then I'll give you one that he just did a couple hours ago or half a day ago. Dear friends, I thought it was the best way to update you on the events of the past few days. Last weekend, while I was exercising at Shelby Farms, I noticed I was having difficulty breathing. I had to stop every 50 feet to catch my breath. On Monday, it was even difficult to get out complete sentences during the radio show. And that evening, my blood pressure spiked to 200/107. My cardiologist sent me directly to Baptist East, and they have done an incredible job of diagnosing the problem. Many of you know that 26 years ago, I had open heart surgery to install a mechanical aortic valve. And in 2007, I had a stroke. It's been a bit of a difficult journey. The team at Baptist East discovered I had a widowmaker, nearly 90% blockage in one of my arteries. They were able to fix what could have been a disastrous problem. I simply can't say enough great things about the staff at East Baptist. They have gone out of their way to make me feel comfortable and provide daily encouragement. My church family has been so kind, as well as the team at KWAM, and of course, the Real Housewives of Germantown, Dieter. You made me laugh, and I greatly appreciate that. Dalton, a good man. Just a good man. I hope to come back home and eventually back on the radio and TV, but for now, I'm going to enjoy some bed rest. One final note, if the nurse ever comes into your room with a razor and a grin and she tells you it's spa day, don't believe her. I'm going to need a therapist and a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper to overcome body shaving. Whew. Folks, just for that indignity alone, you'd want to avoid health issues. And this was the update, folks, a half a day ago from Todd. I'm glad to get back home, and I can't thank my cardiologist, the team at Stern, and phenomenal cardiac team at Baptist East for getting me back on my feet. We are truly blessed with some of the finest medical personnel in the nation right here in the Mid-South. My cardiologist called me tonight and reiterated how fortunate I am, a 90% blockage of the main artery. And I must tell you that I'm taking some time to get my head wrapped around the events of the past few days. I'm just so blessed to be surrounded by my precious family and my sweet friends. My church family went above and beyond, and my family at KWAM and the national radio show just taking charge with Dylan at the helm. I had my first outing earlier today to drive to Kroger to get some baby aspirin. I feel like I ran a marathon. It's going to take a little time to get back on my feet, but I will be on my way. In the meantime, a few guest hosts will be taking over. Also, as a journalist, I always believe in correcting errors at the source, and I do want to apologize for telling you that gravy was actually healthy for you. It turns out sausage gravy is not a lubricant for your arteries, after all. My apologies. I long for the day when I can relax in the sun and drink a Dr. Pepper. So that's the update from Todd, folks. On the mend, probably listening to the show as he's sitting back, and hopefully I was keeping him up enough, engaged enough to where he wasn't nodding off to sleep. That's kind of my job. So, folks, that's the update on Todd. If you want to call in, let me know. Send your well wishes to Todd and his family, and wish him a speedy recovery and back behind the mic and back on television as soon as humanly possible. Please call 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. In the meantime, I thought we would highlight some of the good things going on out there. I mean, President Trump, what he's doing with Iran, I think is going to be consequential. The future for the United States of America, no future president, no Congress will have to factor in defense and battle plans for a an Islamic-dominated, jihadist-dominated Iran. And I think that's going to transform not only the Middle East, but transform America and what we have to contend with moving forward. Taking away communist China's playthings. Kind of like that. Kind of like it. So there's one positive thing. We mentioned this, and I think we haven't given it its due. This is Governor Ron DeSantis in the great state of Florida. He has signed into law the new gerrymandered districts. The gerrymandered districts in Florida have increased the Republican possibilities to the factor of 4, which may help blunt all of John Thune's efforts to turn over the United States Congress back to communists and socialists, who, by the way, have pledged they're going to nuke the filibuster, and John Thune is okay with that. John Thune says, if the Democrats want to nuke the filibuster, I'm fine with it. And when they nuke the filibuster, they're going to implement policies that make sure they never lose power ever again. John Thune is fine with it. And John Thune will not be leading the fight against the Democrats in any real and substantive way. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. The last 4 years before Trump took over, the last 4 years under the last Democrat regime, President Otto Penn, they opened up the borders, folks. They opened up the borders, flooded this country with over 15 million criminal illegal aliens, land, sea, and air. The Democrats complained that the Republicans weren't voting with them, and the Republicans complained too. They complained, saying it's not lawful for what you're doing. But for all of the Republicans complaining, did they stop one criminal illegal alien from getting into the United States? Not one. And that's what the Republicans will do. They will go back and they will complain and they will fundraise and they will do absolutely nothing of substance in the minority to stand in the Democrats' way as they work to harm you and your family, as they have squandered. And this was the entire run the clock out strategy. We in Texas know this very well. You people in North Carolina know it very well. The Republicans who dominate your legislature, they run out the clock so that good conservative legislation doesn't get a hearing. And then at the end of every legislative session, they say, oh, we just plumb ran out of time. Right now, John Thune is saying, sorry, folks, we'd love to do the Save America Act. We're just plumb run out of time. Remember, they passed the big, beautiful bill last June, and they've done nothing that has been pro-American since. Nothing. For those of you pointing to the housing bill, that was a Democrat bill. John Thune passed a Democrat bill, his good friend, the Democrats, and got enough Republicans to sign on to it. Right? So that's what happens when Republicans are in charge. They turn it back over to Democrats. When Democrats are in charge, they ram through everything they can, knowing the Republicans won't do anything extraordinary to stop them. And who pays for all that? We do. My thanks publicly to Governor Ron DeSantis for doing what is necessary to protect me and mine and you and yours from Marxists, from socialists. While John Thune, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, Tom Cotton, John Curtis, John Barrasso, and the rest surrender their voters to Marxists and socialists. Thank you. Thank you, Governor DeSantis. Much appreciated. Then there's this out of Los Angeles, folks. How many of you know the name Spencer Pratt? Spencer Pratt, actor, yeah? Spencer Pratt is running for mayor of Los Angeles, folks. Do you know that they still haven't even begun to rebuild in the Palisades from that wildfire? I had a buddy of mine who worked for a left-wing radio company, a radio company that many of you know. One of the big radio companies out there, folks. He posted a meme on his social media. Didn't say it on radio. Posted on social media. It said, in Los Angeles, they've got 57 different genders, but only 0 working fire hydrants. And because of that joke, he was fired from a so-called free speech radio company. Think about that. This radio company, folks, has conservative talk stations on it. And they fired a conservative talk show host for posting a joke that said 57 different genders, no working fire hydrants in Los Angeles. That's how much they're dedicated to free speech, which means they're not. So the Democrats who run the People's Republic of California, they have decided that they want to allow some big moneyed buyers to come in and swoop in and buy up all that property. Some are rumored to be from communist China, folks, to buy some of that prime real estate. And I don't think anybody's going to reelect Karen Bass. I mean, this woman allows dogs to be used on Skid Row in Los Angeles. All the bums, all the druggies, all the junkies, they have these dogs in kennels and they inject them full of their drugs to make sure it's not laced with communist China's fentanyl, right? And if the dog dies, oh, that's a bad batch. But if the dog lives and just gets all whacked out on drugs, then the junkies can shoot up. That's happening right now. All of you Democrats out there who claim to love animals, yeah, sure you do. Anywho, the race for mayor is heating up. Here's Spencer Pratt. Now, he's going to be saying this in front of his trailer. He lives in a trailer because his house was burned down, courtesy of Democrat incompetence. Listen.
This is where Mayor Bass lives. You notice something? Or here, where Nikia Raman's $3 million mansion sits. They don't have to live in the mess they've created where you live. This is where I live. They let my home burn down. I know what the consequences of failed leadership are. That's why I'm running for mayor. For my sons and the rest of us Angelinos that want to stop these corrupt politicians from destroying our city. We are going to get the golden age of Los Angeles back.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be one of America's largest cities restored once leftists and Marxists were no longer in charge? 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. Put you in touch with me, your liberty-loving Latino, on the Todd Starnes Radio Show. Be right back.
This is the Todd Starnes Show.
Well, we've been talking a lot about how this time of year is crazy, insanely wild. You got the ball games, kids, grandkids schedules, yard work. You're outside more on the go. And let's be honest, there's no time to be perfect. No perfect diet, no perfect routine. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck because we've been told if you can't do it perfectly, it won't work. But that's just not true. Most people are not failing. They're just missing a piece.
And that's exactly what makes Calitrin different and the missing piece for so many people. It's not a stimulant, not some extreme plan. It's working with your body, especially while you sleep. My body didn't need perfection. It needed repair. It needed a boost. And when I added Calitrin, I was able to lose 40 pounds.
And for me, that was the missing piece, too, because real life doesn't pause for a diet.
You just need something that works with you, even when life's busy. And with the big spring reset sale, now is the time to save big. Go to toploss.com. That's TOPLOSS.com or call 833-TOP-LOSS.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNES. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNES. Order now, and your entire order ships free. We are living in dangerous and unstable times. Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Starnes. Pandemics, international insecurity, shortages, supply chain disruptions, and an economy on the brink. We know we can't simply trust the government to protect us. Now more than ever, everyone needs to be prepared. And being prepared is more than just stockpiling ammo, food, and supplies. Being prepared should also include stockpiling critical prescription medications. And that's where my friends at the Wellness Company come in. Their medical emergency kit contains the prescriptions, antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics that you need to keep you and your family safe, from anthrax to tick bites to COVID, and even to a bioweapon like the plague. The Wellness Company's medical emergency kit is exactly what you need to have on hand to be prepared. Go to twc.health/Starnes today and order. That's twc.health/Starnes. Use the promo code Starnes, and you're going to save an extra 10%.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Folks, welcome back to the Todd Starnes Show. You got me, Chris Salcedo. If you want to get in touch with me, go to chrissalcedo.com. ChrisSalcedo. Salcedo. chrissalcedo.com. You can hook up with all of our social media presence there. Our big one is True Social. Where are we at? 2.3 million followers on True Social. Up and coming is our X account at C Salcedo Show. X is up and coming because when it was communist Twitter, I left. So I had to start from scratch. So we're making it respectable, but would love to have more of you folks join us there. So when you get a chance, head on there. Let me get to the phones because I think I got a call waiting here. Hold on a minute. Shirley is calling on 9:20 a.m. in Houston, Texas. Shirley, welcome. Hello, Shirley. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Go ahead, ma'am. What do you got?
Now. I had the ballot for the runoff here in Texas, Houston, Texas. I'm not familiar with any of those judges, like Frankfurt, Gibson, Fox, or Smith. And I just won't vote for just anybody because I don't know them.
Right.
What I'm looking for. What these judges? I'm looking for a hardball hitter, not a softball hitter judge. Now, could you give me some pointers?
Well, Shirley, I can tell you now. One of the judges that you mentioned in the runoff on May 26th in Texas. It's place 3, one of these judges' races, place 3 on the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. The Court of Criminal Appeals is a big court. It's a biggie. And you've got Allison Fox up against Thomas Smith. And my impression of Allison Fox is she's a disaster, and a disaster waiting to happen. So if it were me, if I'm going to be voting in that runoff, which I am, Thomas Smith is going to get my vote. He's an assistant attorney general inside of Ken Paxton's office. He's going to bring the proper temperament and with very little tolerance of pro criminal leftists. Very little tolerance.
Good. Well, what about Gibson and Frankfurt?
Yeah, those ones I'm not quite familiar with, and I'm not even sure what positions they're running for. Do you know?
Would you repeat that? My hearing's not that good, Salcedo.
Yes, I understand. Shirley, I'm just asking, those other judges you mentioned, do you know what positions they're running for, which judges or which courts they're running for? Because
let me see here. It's the First Court of Appeals, District Place 3.
Right. That's the Criminal Court of Appeals. Shirley, I would go. This is who I'm going with. Thomas Smith. I'm going with Thomas Smith. I think that Mr. Smith has the right temperament. Again, he comes from the Attorney General's office, and he has learned under Ken Paxton, the most conservative Attorney General in these once United States. So that's where I'd go. The other ones, they weren't familiar to me. So you may have to do a little, they may be local judges in your particular jurisdiction. So you'd have to do a little investigating on your own there, lady. Okay. But I can definitely tell you the Criminal Court of Appeals. Folks, it was the Criminal Court of Appeals that ruled that Ken Paxton, the Attorney General, could not prosecute voter fraud. Believe in Texas, believe it or not. So you got to choose right on the Criminal Court of Appeals, choose lawful. Let me put it that way. All right, folks, Chris Salcedo out for the day. Say your prayers for our buddy Todd Starnes, okay? Praise God, he's going to be back in front of the microphone very soon. Catch you next time.
From fruits and veggies to fiber and spice, Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, I stopped taking it for a while, and then it dawned on me, so I started taking it again. And I don't know, I like it. I mean, I love them. I'm never going to stop taking them. And I've got a friend that's coming over here. I'm giving her a little bit for her to go try.
I love the product. I wouldn't be without it. Ever since I started that product, I remember seeing an ad way back. That's what convinced me. I tried it, and I've been a believer. Nothing compares with it, so I'm a lifer with it. I'm not going to change.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred